Have you ever wondered about crowdfunding and how it works? Have you heard of Kiva and wondered what a crowdfunded loan is? Well, if you have, today is your lucky day because that is what we are here to talk about. Welcome to Small Biz Finance with CIC. My name is Caroline Nelson and I am joined today by Cassie Price. Cassie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Cassie is the Capital Access Manager here at CIC. Specifically, she supports the Kiva program. So Cassie, what is Kiva?
Yeah, it's a great question. Kiva is actually a global crowdfunding platform. It is here to connect small business owners with lenders all across the globe, really. Kiva uses the unique approach of crowdfunding to unlock the door to capital access for people who might not traditionally qualify for standard bank loans, whether that's people who don't have traditional government issued IDs or people that don't have access to business assets to use for collateral, or businesses that maybe haven't been in business for the standard length of like 2 years that most banks would require.
That's awesome. What a great resource. Now, what exactly is crowdfunding? We hear this word a lot in the community. And when I think of crowdfunding, like the first thing I think of is like GoFundMe. Someone has an emergency and they're raising money. So how does this apply to lending?
Yeah, so crowdfunding means that a loan is going to be backed by anywhere up to hundreds of people making small contributions to actually fully fund a loan. So, a $10,000 loan could be backed by 200 individual lenders.
That's really cool. So crowdfunding is just a word, essentially, of collecting money from a large number of people. And there's different ways that you can crowdfund something. So you could crowdfund for an emergency, but you can also crowdfund for a loan.
Yep, you got it.
That's really
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me more about how Kiva works. Like, who's the ideal client for Kiva? I know you talked a little bit about that, but I'd love for you to
Yeah.
elaborate more.
So the ideal client is somebody who would truly benefit from a small microloan, so up to 15,000, but where they've got a really clear use of funds. They just need this small amount to make the next step to grow their business. And also somebody who is really well connected in their community. Since these loans are crowdfunded, you need to have a strong network.
Is a Kiva loan ideal for just newer businesses, or really can businesses at any stage raise through Kiva?
Yeah, great question. So I would say any stage of business would be a good fit for Kiva as long as you've got that strong network behind you. So if you're in that startup phase, and let's talk about that a little bit. So what is a startup? We talk about startups, but it really is a broad network of whether you're in the idea phase or you already are in business, but you're pre-revenue. So I think for the purposes of Kiva, both would be eligible potentially, but you might not be eligible for a big lump sum of money. People who are in that idea phase, but they're ready to launch, they just need some funding to maybe get registered with the Arizona Corporation Commission or just buy one little piece of equipment to actually launch their business. That would be a good use of funds. But you're still considered a startup. The important thing that I'll keep coming back to over and over is making sure that you've got that network behind you, that people know who you are, they're ready to support your business. Because especially if you're pre-revenue, we don't want to make a loan to someone and then get them into more financial debt and make growing their business even harder. This is meant to take you to the next step.
So I've heard you mention this network, like it's really important to have a network. What does that look like? What exactly does that mean?
Yeah. So one thing that Kiva really looks at is your presence in the community, and one of the key ways to do that in today's world is social media. So, are you on the different social media platforms? And there's a bunch of them out there. And are you talking about your business, whether it's on your personal social media or it's a business account? Are people interacting with your posts? How are people finding you? And how would you be able to share about your campaign too, to be able to actually fully fundraise it?
So this makes sense when we talk about this startup phase. Like startup, we just use this term so loosely, but there's so many different levels that a business could be at in this startup phase. Some people count a startup as a business, less than 2 years in existence, but that's completely different from someone in the ideation phase. So I can see now when you're talking about having a social media presence, this wouldn't be a good fit for someone who's still building their idea because you haven't launched that yet. But if you are getting ready to launch your business and you've built that network and you have social media and you're talking about it and getting people excited, I could see how that would be a good fit then because you have people there like excited and ready to go.
Yeah, exactly.
What does the application process look like?
Yeah. So, first step I would say would be connect with me or attend one of our Kiva info sessions. Next one is coming up on the 11th of June, and just learn exactly what we're looking for on a complete application. The application process it's all done online, so you do have to have internet access, and it takes about an hour and a half. We're going to collect your personal information. We're going to collect all of your like social platforms, website, things like that, so we can look into your business more. If you have separate bank account for the business, we want to see proof of that, proof of the business registration. One of the most important things for your Kiva application is going to be your photo. So this is, if you're approved for funding, that's the first thing that lenders are going to see is your picture. So making sure we've got a high quality photo of you and your business, you interacting with clients, something that can capture who you are and what your business is or does. And then the next piece of that is your business story, use of funds, your personal story. So again, if you're approved for funding, that story is all that lenders are going to read. They don't get to know anything on the background, like looking at financials, credit, anything like that. They just see your picture and your story. So those are two pieces that are really important to pay attention to the details. Yeah. And so once that application is collected, it goes to Kiva Underwriting for review. If you're approved for funding, your application would move into a period that we call the private fundraising period. In this stage, you're given a set number of people that you have to get to lend $25 at a minimum to your campaign. So it's not a dollar amount you have to raise during this private fundraising period. It's a certain number of people. So let's say you're raising $10,000, you'll need, up to 30 or 40 people to actually lend you that $25 minimum to your campaign. What this does is it shows that you've got the social capital, because it is an alternative underwriting process. So we want to make sure that people do believe in your business and they want to see you thrive. So once you hit that certain number of people, let's say it was $10,000, you need 30 people to lend to you. At that point, you would then move to the public crowdfunding phase. So then your campaign actually moves to the global platform where you're being exposed to 2 million people across the planet.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I will say I participated in a couple Kiva campaigns myself, and it's really exciting to see once someone hits that public fundraising period, like how fast and how many people come together to support a loan. It's really just beautiful to see so many people coming to support one business and one community. I think
It
that's the
is.
power of crowdfunding.
Yeah. And something else I think that is really cool about this crowdfunding model is, while it does take a lot of courage to put yourself out there and let people know, hey, I'm crowdfunding a loan for my business. This is going to help me grow. Um, it also is getting the name of your business out there, right? So it's going to just help you. I mean, it's free marketing in a sense for your business.
I hadn't thought of it that way. Ah, that's really good. Okay, that's great. So in a traditional loan process right here at CIC, we make business loans. So we're collecting financial documents. We're doing a lot of like analysis and underwriting. So it sounds like the Kiva process does not require that. Like, will a business need to submit any financials or any financial information?
They will. It's not used in the same way as traditional underwriting would utilize it. But, we will do a soft credit check. Most importantly, we're looking at what kind of outstanding debt do you have, because we certainly don't want to get you into more trouble with adding more debt than somebody could realistically handle. And then as far as the financials, everybody should be keeping business finances separate from their personal finances. So if you're able to show that you're doing that, that just helps promote a stronger application.
Okay, gotcha. So kind of all these business best practices strengthen the application overall and help you be approved so that you can start your private fundraising with the goal of
Yes.
getting to public fundraising. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And the more that somebody can submit to show the strength of their business, the higher the likelihood of them qualifying for a larger loan amount. So just
Okay.
because 15,000 is available, that doesn't mean, even if you apply for that, that doesn't mean that you would qualify for that amount.
So when you apply for a Kiva loan, do you tell them what amount you would like? And
You do.
So Kiva will determine if that amount is
Yes. Yep. You
possible.
you let them know exactly how much you're applying for and how you're going to use those funds. So you'll break it down dollar amounts.
Can you give me a few examples of strong use of funds, maybe what Kiva is looking for?
Yeah. Um, so we've got someone right now on the platform that is in the public fundraising phase, and they are fundraising 15,000. It's a tech-based business, and they needed one chunk of the funds to secure their patent. So that's a very clear use of the dollars. We can see exactly it costs X amount, and that's where it's going to go. Other good uses of funds are, let's say I have a landscaping business and I need to buy a lawnmower. That's going to cost me, $2,000. It's very clear this is what I'm using these funds for. You're a coffee roaster, you need to buy a new roasting machine, that's $10,000.
Okay. Would an acceptable use be to like totally start up the business? Say I need $15,000 to apply for all my licenses, purchase inventory, pay for staff. Could I use Kiva funds for everything I need?
You potentially, the things that you just listed, potentially, they are approved uses of the funds. The likelihood of somebody who doesn't have any, we'll call it putting any skin in the game, right? They're looking for this fund to get completely started from scratch. They don't have any reserves of their own that they're looking to invest in the business. It's unlikely that someone would be approved for that 15,000. More like 1 to 3,000 would probably be where they're at if they truly have nothing for the business.
Okay, so it seems like this maybe follows more of just a traditional line of starting a business. You still need to have some of your own funds saved up to support it, and this is just an aid to help you keep going. Okay. Now we've talked about fundraising, right? Like getting a loan through Kiva. Let's talk about the flip side of that and people actually lending. So, what does that look like from, do we call them lenders, investors? What is the appropriate Kiva term?
Yeah, so they're a lender. I'm a lender, and it's really fun to contribute to a campaign and watch it go, whether it's in that private phase or the public phase, and watch it go to fully funded. On that, one other side note that I didn't mention, Kiva loans are all or nothing. So if you're fundraising $10,000, if you don't fully fundraise that loan, unfortunately, you don't get anything. So yeah, as a lender, it's fun to watch these campaigns move through the process. And I lend $25 and I watch 100 more people come in line after, or I see a campaign and all they have left is $250 to go, and I lend my 25, and then 3 lenders later, now they're fully funded. So it's an exciting process. On that, as a lender, I get repaid as soon as the borrower starts making their monthly payments. So my $25, that could take up to 3 years to get repaid that full $25. But as I get it paid back, I can reinvest it into other businesses.
If for some reason I wanted to cash out, am I able to cash out my $25 once it's repaid?
Absolutely.
Okay. Um, so Kiva, it sounds like Kiva handles all of, like, they're the loan servicer essentially. So
Yes.
I give my funds to Kiva. Kiva, once the loan is fully funded, Kiva then gives the funds to the borrower. As the borrower makes the payments, Kiva disperses the funds back to all the lenders. And then I can choose what to do with those funds once I get repaid.
Yep, exactly. And let's say I lend $25, somebody makes their first monthly payment. I get paid back, I don't know, 70 cents. I don't know what that math actually breaks down to. But let's say I want to fund somebody else right now. I can use that credit that's already been paid back to go towards my next $25. So you don't have to wait until you get the full 25 paid back. As soon as payments start coming in, you can use that credit on your account.
Very cool. Um, from an investor perspective, I keep saying investor. What are the perks to being a lender? Like,
One of the big things I think is just being able to support local businesses here. But you can actually lend to any business anywhere across the planet. So, whatever you might have some affiliation to, some interest that you want to support, You can search for so many different criteria on the Kiva platform and find businesses that fit the criteria you want, and you can support in that way. It is 0% interest, so you're not going to make any money back. But it's cool to be able to support in a way. If I want to support a business in in Turkey and I don't want to travel there, but now I can, right?
That's awesome. Okay, so it's a 0% loan. So the borrower pays 0% interest?
Correct.
That is a deal. Do they pay any fees?
No fees,
Wow. And is any collateral required?
no collateral, and there's not a minimum credit score.
Awesome. That's really
Yeah.
cool. I guess that's the power of crowdfunding, right? Like everyone coming together to support really supports the borrower,
hmm
um, on the flip side. And so then the lender does not get paid any interest. We're just lending our money at 0%. What happens if someone doesn't repay?
Unfortunately, then you don't get paid back. So that is the risk. But Kiva's system has shown that default rates stay up above that 90% generally. So there's a lot less risk, especially, people are asking their friends and family, and they want to pay their friends and family back.
This is part of the overall model, right? Kiva's doing some
hmm
underwriting. They're making sure that you have a clear use of funds, that you have that network. And then when your network is coming to support you, you are also incentivized, might be the right word, to repay and to. So anyone participating in a loan that has gone public also knows that this person has like people invested to support
hmm
them.
Yes. And once, at least here for the local businesses, once I support one, I'm going to tell people, hey, I lent that business money. You should go and check them out. They're really cool.
I
Right.
love
So
that.
the lenders have a personal interest in the business succeeding.
Okay. So CIC is Kiva Hub. Is that what it's called?
We
What?
are the Southern Arizona hub.
Okay. What does that mean?
That means that anyone anywhere can apply for a Kiva loan. But if you're going through a hub, you get more of that personalized experience. So I'm going to work with you to make sure you've got a strong application, that you've got access to different resources across the community if you need help, building a business plan, if you need help for any step of the way. I'm going to make sure you're connected to the right people. And once you have that strong application, then I'll get that submitted to Kiva underwriting.
What is the typical time? Is there like a time frame?
Yeah, so working on an application with me, I'd say, anywhere from, depending on how buttoned up the business owner is, anywhere from 48 hours to 3 weeks to get that, really solid application. And then it can go to Kiva underwriting. That can take 1 to 3 weeks. Once the application is approved, you get to determine when you want to start that private fundraising. So you want to make sure if you're approved, you've got your list of people that you're going to be reaching out to. And you can get really creative with that part. Like, let's say you've got a birthday coming up and you want to say, instead of giving me a birthday present this year, lend to my campaign, or a business anniversary, something like that. You can get creative with when you want to start it. Once you start that private fundraising period, you have 2 weeks to get to the number of people that is set for you. Once you hit that number of people, you'll go into the public crowdfunding phase where you have 30 days to fully fundraise your loan. So one of the other benefits of working with a hub is we're here to support you. We're here to help share out your campaign and help you reach that fundraising goal.
Okay, so total time from when you start fundraising is potentially no more than 6 weeks. That would be like the max time.
hmm
If for some reason someone doesn't reach their fundraising goal, what happens?
Then, unfortunately, their campaign is closed and they can come back and reapply or restart the campaign. And there's some little things that we can work on with the Kiva underwriting team to see about expediting a campaign. If there's like a clear plan as to, what went wrong on the first one and what they're going to do different this time, something like that.
So as a lender, if I contribute to a campaign, if I lend $25 and it doesn't meet the full fundraising, what happens? Do I get my money back or what
You do.
happens there? Okay.
Yep. And yeah, so you get your money back. It could take up to about 7 business days once the campaign closes to see that money come back to you. at the same time, if a loan is fully funded, it can take about 7 days for the funds to be released to the borrower. Usually it's quicker than that, but it could potentially take up to that 7 days. And it is all done through PayPal.
Okay. So do you have to have a PayPal? So the business, the one applying for the loan, do they have to have a PayPal account at the time they apply for Kiva?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they do. Lenders do not have to use PayPal. You can use a debit card or credit card to lend. Apple Pay, I think Google Pay, or you can use PayPal, or all the different ways that you can lend. But as far as a borrower, funds will only be released to a PayPal account, which you must have at time of application. And then your repayments are all done through PayPal.
Okay. Very cool. So I've heard about this Kiva Collective. What exactly is the Kiva Collective?
Yeah, I'm super excited about the Kiva Collective because I think it's an opportunity for us to bring business owners and lenders and just local community all together. We're looking to do pop-up events. We had our first one a couple weeks ago, and it was so much fun to see all these business owners. We had a dozen or so pop up. Not a single one knew somebody else there. And just to watch the business owners interacting with each other, being able to share out, from my perspective, share out about people that are fundraising on the platform, letting business owners know about Kiva as a resource and CIC as a resource, and letting the business owners support each other, sharing their stories of what things that they've experienced, if they need support in certain ways. So, it's just their pop-up kind of thing to help build community. So, it's a social club for a cause.
I love that. So is this
Yeah.
just for business owners, or are people who are interested in lending, can they show up as well?
Yeah, everybody can show up. The more the merrier.
It sounds like a good time. If someone wants to learn about being a borrower or a lender, what should they do?
Reach out to us at CIC. So I can be reached by phone or email. The email is Cassie, CASSIE at cictucson.org. We're also on our website, cictucson.org/Kiva.
Very cool. Thank you. And we will include that information in the show notes as well. I think I meant to ask this. We talked about earlier. I'm struggling with words today. When we were talking about the CIC hub, so what's the benefit? Well, you said the benefit, I guess, of working with the hub directly is, or applying through the CIC hub. Words.
They're hard.
They're really hard.
That is one of the benefits of working with the hub. I will help you with the words so that your application is strong.
Cassie, can someone apply for Kiva without going through the hub?
They can.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So
I can't speak to what the experience will be if they're not coming through our hub, but it is open to anyone across the country. And while important to note too, Kiva is a global platform. The Kiva US product is slightly different. So it does have a different process and a different underwriting team than the rest of the platform does.
okay, that's important
So
to know.
if a business is located in the US, you're welcome to go through the Kiva US hubs or Kiva US program. But let's say you live in Arizona, but your business is based in Mexico, you would not be eligible.
Okay. So kiva.org is the main Kiva website?
It is.
Okay. So if you would like to go through the Southern Arizona hub, if you want to work directly with Cassie, if you would like her to help you with your words, clearly she is helping me significantly today with my words, you can contact Cassie directly. You can explore Kiva through the Kiva website, or you can go to the CIC website and learn more as well.
You got it.
Awesome. Is there anything else that people should know about Kiva?
I would say the only thing I would like to add is if it's not something that you need, but if you know other small business owners, share the resource because it is, global. So even if they're not here in Arizona, it's a resource that could help.
Okay, so I want to make sure that I am absorbing this correctly. So Kiva sounds like an incredible resource. Both helps you with lending, but also helps you market your business. 0% interest, no fees, loan up to $15,000, ideal for businesses at any stage, newer or existing, but really that have a very clear use of funds. So essentially, you need one more thing to get you to the next step. within your business. And you want to have a strong social network. So you want to have social media, you want to have people ready to go that are willing to invest in you during that private fundraising phase so that you can get to the public fundraising phase and have the support of our entire community and potentially the entire globe. All right. Any final parting words, Cassie? Since you have the words today.
Um, there are periodic matches on Kiva. We didn't get into this much, but specifically one that's very unique right now. Anyone who identifies as Native or Indigenous or has gone through the Dream Builder or Dream Catcher programs is currently eligible for a 5-to-1 match on Kiva if they're approved for a loan. This is amazing. I have seen loans, up to 15,000 fully fundraised in 24 hours because of this match. So
That's incredible. Now, geographically, is that just in Arizona, Southern Arizona?
all of Arizona, for what I know, but I believe this match is national right now.
Okay.
So
So definitely if you're in Arizona and you meet those criteria and you're interested in a loan, reach out to Cassie. All right. Well, Cassie, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for talking about Kiva. This is a really incredible resource, and I'm so grateful that we have it here in the Southern Arizona community.
thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk Small Biz Finance, and we'll see you next month for a new episode.